when you think of the rewiring that needs to happen, it's imperative for you to be more efficient. It's imperative for you to continue to implement your 10x goals because, guys, 90% of it is here. Like, when I look at, when I get into the gap and I look at my peers, right, I start looking, they're not any different than we are. They might just have different subconscious beliefs.
Who's this? Oh, you're an entrepreneur? Oh, you're a real estate investor. Oh, you're trying to learn from those who did it. Well, come into the lab then. Put your white coat on, gloves on, notepad, and let's build, y'all.
I just want to give a huge thanks to Rachel and the whole team in the back. It's so my vibe. I know, I'm just out there. I want to meet you guys. I already started to meet and greet. I want to do that all weekend. That's why I love these kind of retreats. They're very intimate. It's not large. It's not like I'm speaking from like a crazy stage. And I want to engage because that's one of my goals. And we'll get to the intention to what we want to commit to, I think, on day one tomorrow. You guys are early. But I've already made mine. I've already done my homework, and I'm going to share my receipts. And I'm going to go over on this side. I'm going to share my receipts. I'm going to be vulnerable because we don't have it figured out. I'm going to introduce myself in a second. But I will tell you that it's about my core values, experimenting, and then surrounding yourself with people that you really admire and get close to them in proximity. That's everything to me. And then I kind of am addicted to kind of growth and hacking. So this is why this is going to be perfect. But I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. We have so much time today. But I want to get into something that's so powerful if you really align yourself with it the right way. Okay? And so I thought a lot about this. Tori was yelling at me, Ruben, where are your slides? I'm like, no, I was thinking on the plane. I'm like, I got to tweak it because I really want it to speak to you how it kind of speaks to me. Candy, you guys are here. Awesome. That's so nice to see familiar faces. So this is about 10x potential strategies for exponential growth and impactful transformation. So let me ask you a question, guys. And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you guys to engage with me because when you engage, you remember and it sticks with you, right? And I'm going to get into that subconscious mind into a second, but I really want you guys to engage with me. Do you guys mind if I coach you for a little bit? Do you guys mind? Say yes? Yes. Okay, great. Excellent. So what does 10x mean to you? I think we've heard it quite enough, but what is 10x? Think about that for a second. What is 10x? And now before you answer, you might be thinking of, okay, like whatever I'm doing now times 10 or, the amount of properties I need to get. I want to help you reframe that. Do you mind if I help you reframe that? Say yes? Yes. Okay, great. So let's reframe that thought to what is your 10x? And the reason why that's important is what is 10x is an ideal. It's a moving horizon, right? So when I'm around Rachel, I'm like, golly, Rachel, every time I talk to you, you're leveling up, right? That's her 10x, and I can admire that. But what is my 10x, right? So what is 10x, right? What is your 10x? What does it look like? So if you think about asking the question, what is 10x, that's an ideal. If you ask, what is your 10x, it's a measuring point, right? Where am I today? Where am I now, right? And the last thing I want you to do is meet somebody, because I've been in these situations where I go to conferences, I meet someone, and I think I'm doing something. And then it's like, golly, that's their worst day. It's my best day, right? That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is to start measuring from your reference point, having that as a reference point, because then that is progress. And to me, progress is success, right? But there's ways now. I'm not going to let you get off the hook by like, oh, like I'm doing it. No. Let's talk about 10x. Your 10x. You have a lot more potential, and I want to get into it. But I want you to reframe that mindset. If it's not what is 10x, it's what is your 10x, right? And so one of the things that I want to get into is, work with my slides here, is ask yourself, what is 10x for me? What is 10x for? Me. Okay, great, right? So reframing that. And asking yourself, what is 10x for me, is really critical for you to start thinking about. We're going to do an exercise where we go a little bit backwards, because when you think about what is 10x for me, you have to actually start thinking about, well, have I ever 10x before? How many of you guys think you've 10x'd in an area of your life? Oh gosh, Gosh, you're so hard on yourselves. See, that's the problem. We need to reframe ourselves. You don't even understand what 10x can mean for you. And that's my goal today, right? And so when I think about it, I want to plant a few seeds, right? What are the 20% of the activities that you would make your 10x more valuable and impactful, right? When you start thinking what is your zone of genius, right? Because when you think of 10x, it's not so much that number, but it is a lot to do with what is my zone of genius that allows me to have that 10x output. And a lot of us do a lot of things, and including myself. I got to trim the fat. So I want to help you do that as well, and do an exercise where we specifically focus on that. But another thing I want you to think about is that who would have to be the people you need to focus your energy on, right? That will contribute to the most success and that you're excited about. That's what Rachel talked about, right? Who are those people, right? It might be someone here, right? That will allow you to 10x. So let me put some things into context for a second, right? So if I think about 10x, I think there's two layers, right? There's the layer of what am I doing on a day-to-day, right? And then when I think about what am I doing, what is the Pareto principle, as you guys might know? What is producing 80% of the output? What is the 20% that I put in and then produces 80% of that? And once you start understanding that, then it's going a layer even deeper, and you go to, okay, my 20% that I'm good at, who is the who that I need to align with to go a little bit deeper, right? All right, so let's get into it, okay? So who am I? I'm kind of a 10x hacker. I believe in 10x experiments, but I'm still trying to figure it out. So whatever my margins are, I'm trying to, I want a 10x, right? From my perspective. But I want to give you a little bit of context so you know. I believe in 10x experience. I geek out on this stuff. I had a TEDx talk that I gave around how to get more than 24 hours in a day because I just love to hack. And it certainly has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the who, right? So stop thinking about how can I, start asking how can I, and start thinking about who. That was one of the very passionate talks I had. I wrote a book called Why We Plateau. I had a background I worked with a lot of, I used to train. So I got a lot of personal trains. I used to work with a lot of people with a mind. And they had so many limiting beliefs. I remember I used to train a lot of 80%, I would say, or 70% were a lot of females, 30% work with even professional athletes. But I make the point to whoever I worked with, whether we're older, younger, I would have a conversation with them and I would say, hey, how many of these do you think you can lift? And there'd be this mindset of, I think I can do 10, Ruben. Okay, great, let's do it. I'm counting for you. And they'd start lifting and I'm counting for them and I'm miscounting. And Celine knows because I used to train her too. She's like, how many is that? I'm like, that's 17. And I tricked you. And you had this limiting belief that you didn't believe you can get to that level. And I remember just thinking about that, of how often in our lives that we set that bar of like, we think we can do 10, but there's plenty more to go and do. And so that's something I'm really passionate about. So I wrote a book about that, Why We Plateau. I've 10x my network through my show, The Real Estate Experiment, where I know some of you tune in, and it's just been an amazing way for me to network and grow my network and be able to even connect with, someone like Dr. Rachel Gainsborough. I don't know if that's how we connected initially. I know we have done some work together as well, but just so many people in our industry who have become friends. That's a little bit of my background. We have 240 plus episodes, and I've been so gracious to be able to just learn, educate, and connect, right? And then one of my recent 10Xs had nothing to do with me. It was The Power of the People, which is very important, who, not how. I co-authored and I narrated. It is out on Audible. It will be my voice with Julie George and Tatiana Taylor-Tate, the international best-selling hospitable host. And that was a group effort, collective, right? Who, not how. And we were able to have an international bestseller. My wife, Celine Kanya, which is sitting right here, say hello to her, have helped 10X our real estate portfolio in revenue thanks to the midterm rental insurance blueprint, which we've really been able to double down in, which we're gonna learn a lot about today and for the weekend that goes on, right? So I had to give a shout out to Rachel. Along with Dr. Rachel, I'll share with you guys, I think it's important for us to share our goals. So I do wanna walk around and understand why you're here. One of my goals is I wanna cater to homeowners like you and help you 10X, right, your revenue. For us, it means building the number one midterm rental insurance network in the nation. Can I say that we're the number one midterm rental insurance network in the nation now? No, but I'm claiming it, right? And that's part of it too, because there's an exercise that does that. You can claim it in the present. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So we're claiming that because we are actively building that. I'm so proud and I'm so glad. And my goal is to help, just so you guys know, is to help as many homeowners have increased occupancy and profitability while helping displaced homeowners nationwide. That's my 10X goal, just so you guys know. I don't have to compare myself to anybody, but that's mine. And I want to just be vulnerable and share that with you guys. So I'm on a quest. But this is my 10X goal that I share with you, and it's not yours, right? So it doesn't matter. That's my point. It doesn't matter that I'm trying to do this. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, should I do that? A network too? No. This is very important to me. And again, it goes back to the goal of really being clear on what your goals are when you come in here this weekend, being very intentional what your goals are, what your 10X goal is, right? Not measuring, okay? The gap in the gain, right? So let's talk about the gap in the gain. Has anybody heard about the concept of the gap in the gain? Yeah, a couple? Raise your hands. Okay, cool. So I kind of heard it, right? When I asked you, how many of you guys have 10X'd in your life? I didn't see that, like, maybe you want to be humble or maybe you don't want to go there, but I think there's a fundamental difference in understanding the gap in the gain, because the gap is where most of us operate from. We come in here and we start measuring ourselves to other people, or we have this gap of this 10X ideal, right? And that moving horizon. We get to the next, we achieve a goal, we barely even celebrate for ourselves, right? I think there's so many places here that we were talking about that you can eat to. Celebrate your success. Celebrate yourself for being here, for taking the trip to come here. Celebrate that, right? And start thinking about the gain, right? The gain is that you're here. The gain is that you might meet a partner here today. The gain is that you're going to come up with one insight, one nugget that you're going to plant and execute on, right? This isn't like manifestation. I want to make sure I'm clear. Like, we're not going to just like sit here and like let the deals come to us. No, we're gonna learn. We're gonna learn a lot. We are, I promise you, but we're gonna execute, but it has to be in the mindset of the gain, right? And ask yourself, I want you guys to ask yourself this, write this down if you don't mind. It's like, am I operating in the gap or am I operating in the gain? It's a self-check, right? Am I operating in the gap or the gain? Self-check yourself. I check myself all the time, right? I'll let you guys write that down because it's really important that you guys start getting engaged with the ideas that I'm sharing with you today. Again, 10X. What is 10X? What is your 10X? That's the gain. What is 10X? That's a gap. Okay? So who do we need to become for us to get there, right? Start thinking about that. Who do we need to become for us to get there? Start thinking about those tools, right? And then I want to talk about the reason I picked this background. For those of you who don't know, I do have a little background in IT. I did some consulting. I was like a business analyst. I used to speak to the people who used to code. I don't know how many of you guys in IT? Anybody? Okay, cool. Are you a developer?
Security.
Security. And in the back? Oh, I saw IT. What do you do?
I'm just married to an IT.
Oh, so you know how we think. You didn't say that in a positive way. It's just like, I know.
I could code at this point.
Right? Okay, and I'm so sorry. What was your name?
I'm Monica.
What is it?
Monica.
Monica. Ruben. Pleasure to meet you, Monica. I'm going to do that a lot. So, Monica, I'm so glad you said code because that's the entire, that's the whole thing. The coding. Rebooting your software. So how many of us have the same phone that we've had for the last 5 years? Ooh, okay. You guys stay committed. 10 years? Oh, we might need to get y'all a new phone. Does this still work? It's good? All right, the reason I say that, the rest of you guys, do you guys get new phones how often? I'm just curious, like throw them at me.
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years? Why is that though? Like, why?
Apple slows down the battery.
Slows down. Interesting. And what's interesting now, if you do keep your phone for 3 years, how many of you guys do updates? Say yes. Updates? Sometimes. See, we're resistant to updates. Why won't you update? It's free. You don't trust the updates? Oh my gosh. Guys, okay, you're going to make this a little harder. So if you're not updating your phone, then we got to go to update the mine. So it's going to be a little... Okay. No, we can do this. We got this. Okay. Listen, it's just we need to update. Listen, first of all, we all know they're listening to us, so it's okay. We're here in Utah. Go ahead with the ads. You know what's gonna come. It's gonna be like, yeah. Just try to say a random thing like Toyota, and then we're gonna see a Toyota ad pop up. So we know they're listening to us. So let's just give it up. But you gotta reboot the software, right? Because look, 10 years, 5 years, you need to reboot the software. And the thing is, I don't think we've rebooted our software. We're still operating with the same paradigm shift that wherever we got it from is where we came from. Maybe it's something that we've heard. Maybe it's where we grew up. And we come here to reboot our software or to get a software upgrade or do a little bit of coding, right? And that's why this is important, because when you think of the rewiring that needs to happen, it's imperative for you to be more efficient. It's imperative for you to continue to implement your 10x goals, because, guys, 90% of it is here. Like, when I look at, when I get into the gap and I look at my peers, right, I start looking, they're not any different than we are. They might just have different subconscious beliefs. And this is why I want to go here today, because I want you to keep that in mind as you're getting this new information this weekend, meeting these new people that you get inspired by. Like, I'm inspired by Rachel every day. I'm inspired by a lot of you as well. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm a 10x hacker. I'm not a 10x expert. I'm hacking away just like you guys, trying to figure it out. And I meet a lot, and it's like, it's here. But sometimes that software is the software that's going to allow us to unlock your 10x goals. Not some 10x goals, it's your 10x goals. So I really want you to think about 10x is easier than 2x when done properly, right? 10x is easier than 2x. All right, that's going to take a lot of rewiring. Because see, if I just tell you that right now, you're going to walk away, you're just going to go back to the old. Because 2x is easy. 2x is what we know. But one of my biggest key takeaways, and I know, Rachel, I've gone back and forth, and I was sending you texts. I'm like, this is crazy. Your 10x looks nothing like your 2x. It doesn't, right? Like, before Selena and I got into this midterm rental space, it looked like nothing before. And let me give you another kind of paradigm shift, right? I had this conversation with my brother. It was just so exciting because I had to pull my family in. When I know the gems, I'm like, listen, you guys gotta get you a short-term rental. You gotta operate it this way. And like, my family knows I'm crazy. It's like, there goes Ruben again with his, I just can't get enough of it. So we have the whole family involved. I got my in-laws involved. I got everybody involved in my family, right? I got my sister showing houses, just closed on a contract. My sister was like, should I do, is it Blazer vibes? Remember she was saying that? Is that what we're doing? I'm like, absolutely it is. You better come correct. We closed on that. So, but I say all that to say this, it goes back to when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So if you look at a home, right, a traditional investor sees a home as a home. I'm going to put a long-term rental in it. Isn't that fascinating? They see that's the opportunity that they see. Then there's another investor who looks identical, same brain, has different programming, says, I'm going to furnish it. I'm going to optimize it. Oh, you guys know, Price Labs, no secret. Guesty for hosts. Right here, shout out to Guesty. You guys are they here? Are they sponsoring? Yeah, they're sponsoring. See, I know, I'm doing my homework. So we know the drill. You run that play, you get a different outcome, right? Yeah. Then the third one. God bless Rachel. Then same property, different code, you apply it, you get a different output. But the belief system also matters. The programming matters. But it's the same property and the same person, you get a different output. So now I start thinking, I'm like, okay, so 2x is what we know, and 10x looks like nothing that we're doing today. Before, we were not communicating with all these insurance companies. We didn't know that these databases even existed. I mean, we didn't know about duplicating the listings, which is my favorite trick of all time. But it was there, and we had to just do a paradigm shift. So the reason I want to go there is just like, you're there, right? But you need to download the software. Tia, get the update. All right. So one of the things, very few paths to create 10x. So I love this one right here. So this one talks about, so this concept it's very interesting because I think we know what we need to do sometimes. Aside from the paradigm shift, once we're in that new paradigm, we're like, gosh, we know what it takes, right? But then we're looking for other ways not to do it. So it's interesting. There's two levels. There's like, we don't know what we don't know. Then we know what we do know. And then it's like, there's that pushback of like, I know what I should do, but I don't know, right? So the reason this is interesting is just this point right here, right? There's few paths to create 10x. It makes it easy. It's easier. There's so many paths to get to 2x. There's a lot, right? But if you want to get to that next level, it's like, okay, yeah, I should probably start networking. Or yeah, I probably need to raise capital. Or yeah, I should probably be knowledgeable about like creative financing. Like, it's just very simple, right? It narrows down. That's why I love it. That's why it's easier, because when you do 10x, it becomes very obvious what your next step is. So, and when I started to really think about that and reflect on that and be like, okay, so that's one of the reasons why 10x is easier than 2x, right? 10x is easier than what? 2x. There you go. So if your brain has accepted that looking at things in a 10x framework, at everything you look like in your life, everything becomes in a 10x framework, right? So let me give you an example, right? The reticular activating system. How many people know about the reticular activating system? Guys, I need some confidence. Is this like a maybe I've heard of it, or is it, do you know it? Annie? Do you know it? What is it?
The reticular activating system is the part of your brain that like brings things to fruition, kind of.
Okay, that's part of it is true. So brings things to fruition, meaning it comes to like your attention, like it's in your awareness now. Yes. I would agree with that. I think the reticular activating system, the key thing is, so the reticular activating system is, it was already there, right? But your brain is meant to protect you. Your brain doesn't want the software. I promise you, Tia, it does not. Tia, I'm sorry. I'm going to be picking on you. It was more than just one, I promise. It wasn't just Tia. We love Tia. But your brain wants to just stay as is because it wants to protect you, right? It doesn't want to just leap because it's meant to protect you, conserve energy, be efficient, right? That's the whole thing with homeostasis, right? That's what it is. So when you think of the reticular activating system, all these opportunities were around. Midterm rental was around. We just were not paying attention. I was not paying attention. I didn't know. Database, sure. I could have Googled temporary housing solutions. I never Googled. I could have. I didn't, right? I didn't know, right? But reticular activating system is when you're aware of something. So how many of you guys have bought something, like maybe you, well, not everybody buys a new car, so that's a bad example, but you buy something and then you see it everywhere. Of course. Yeah. That's crazy, right? It was always there, I promise you. But your brain was not, your brain is not gonna like pay attention to all stimulants. Like, I bet you Colby sees a bunch of cameras and Raquel, and they see that stuff and lens and stuff. They know that stuff, and that's our people shooting the content, so shout out to them, they're awesome. I don't look for that. I'm not into that. I look at real estate, right? There's some things that Celine sees that I don't see, right? There's some things, Harry, that you see that I don't see, right? So it's what we pay attention to. So I think part of this is also changing, what I'm gonna get to is, our paradigm is reticular activating system. You buy a white Toyota, you see a white Toyota everywhere, which means that when you change the way you look at things you look at change, but they were always there. So part of it is having this framework and mindset. Ooh, Rachel?
I was going to say, how many people, as you were driving through Park City, were looking at the real estate, wondering, how much that house cost?
Right?
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
They dream in real estate, too.
My lens is crazy.
That looked like they needed work. I'll take pictures.
See, that tells me you got that background. You're looking for, you're looking for opportunity, right? I didn't notice that because, I experimented wholesaling, by the way. But I was like, nah, new lens. Less is more, right? Because how many people have you met, they do 100,000 things. Until you build a team, you focus, right? And that's part of the goal too, right? This weekend is to focus, right? What is your 20%? It's gonna bring the 80% output. Let's think about that, all right? So what would need to be true in order for my 10x dream to come true? Ooh, that one hit different. what would need to be true in order for my 10x dream to come true? Do you guys think you know half of what would need to be true, or do you actually think like, no, I need to be guided, guide me? Because what do you think? Do you guys think you know some of it? Say yes? Yeah? I think we do, but it goes back to the paradigm shift. It takes repetition, right? But I want to do an exercise today to go through that, to kind of help you, because I think, and the whole point, guys, is not to just do this exercise here. Like some of the stuff I'm showing you is I still do it. Like I journal this morning. I went to do my work. What did I tell you? We're meeting up, then I went to go work out. Like I do these things all the time to just rewire my thinking. And I just want to share those insights with you. And if I can plant the seed of like, oh yeah, like I should be doing that and I'm going to do it. It's a muscle. We were just talking about this, right? It's speaking French. It's a muscle. On peut parler français, on peut sauter. Non, non, ça marche, no? Oh, okay. Got to flex the muscle, my friend. Okay, cool. So part of what I'm talking about is this, and this is the kind of stuff I promise you, like, you know, like how many of you guys have heard about this? Okay, let's just, this is a safe space. I just want to know, like, how many of you guys are like into personal development? Okay, cool. How many of you guys like honestly are like not into it? Like, let's just get this stuff done. Let's do the work. Okay, so my people are here because I believe in this stuff, and if you don't, it's not everyone, like to each their own, right? But I do believe that a lot of the wiring from all of our decisions, and like if we're gonna get to the 10x, is this, right? Need a software update. So this is interesting. There's no way I'm gonna memorize this, right? Because this actually came from Bob Proctor. You guys know Bob Proctor? Anybody? Yeah, tapping in. Yeah, that's my people. A paradigm is a multitude of ideas that are fixed in our subconscious mind. Ideas fixed in our subconscious minds then are habits, right? And a habit is an idea that expresses itself without any conscious thought. So that's crazy because that's the old programming. Right? So if you think about a paradigm, like you hear it a lot, and I say it, Salim will kill me if I say paradigm shift one more time because I've been just talking around the house. Paradigm shift, right? Like we're paradigm, but it's just so critical because this is your autopilot that you rely on. And if you don't work on this, I'll show you how to work on the autopilot, then it's gonna be hard because it's just kind of like, you know, if knowledge is what, and this is more of a hard one, like whether it's fitness or goals or whatever that we're trying to overcome, it's not the knowledge. Like you probably know that you should eat healthy, less calories, calorie deficit, more burn. Like we've heard of that, but why is it hard, right? It's a habit, golly. Vanilla ice cream though is crazy, no? That's me, but you just have to switch this, right? So I can't stress this enough. You have to switch what? Your paradigm. All right, that's very important. And that's the code. That's the human cheat code. And so I want to do an exercise with you guys, but you have to think, it's like, what am I doing? Right? And why am I doing it? And then part of it, as I talked about earlier, it's that code, it's that internal code that you've either seen, which is okay, right? Sometimes, parents are real estate people, so I'm real estate. Or I had so many conversations, a doctor, parents are doctor, I became doctor. And it's not the parents thing. I'm not having this whole parent conversation. Environment is key, right? What you guys are here, surrounded yourself with people, is just the software, right? So sometimes the code given by people who love you, or a code that you learn from your environment. And you guys are here, so congratulations. Seriously, like give yourself a round of applause because this is part of it. And then I want to give you some stuff that you can take at home that will also help you flex that muscle.
Experiment Nation, you've heard the word MTR, midterm rentals, as it is currently a hot topic and hot commodity right now because, again, there has been an increase in short-term rental regulations, and there also has been, let's face it, a slowdown in what we were experiencing a couple years back when it comes to bookings. So with that said, short-term rental operators are looking for alternative solutions to tap into the midterm rental space. However,
there is a space, there is a sub niche of midterm rental insurance that I'm truly excited about, that I want to share with you, that the experience that we've had, the tremendous results we've been able to have, and that's the insurance midterm rental space, which is very different than your traditional midterm rentals. When you think of traditionally midterm rentals, you think of travel nurses. There is a space, midterm rental insurance space, that we've tapped in, where you need to be well connected with insurance and relocation specialists and companies and understand the right type of asset required for you to be able to help these families. What's really important that stands out the most, which you can get in what I'm about to offer you, is the understanding where to be found by these insurance companies, how to properly manage your calendar so that your listings are optimized so that they can find you, how to actually gain traction and build a relationship with these relocation insurance companies. I've put together an MTR insurance blueprint. That's MTRR insurance blueprint to cover these foundations after we've had success landing very large contracts on single family homes that literally 4x what we traditionally make in long-term rentals, and also gives us peace of mind because there's less turnover and 100% occupancy, because these contracts can start anywhere from 30 days to 3 months to 8 months and range anywhere from, again, we've landed anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000 a month in per month on a single family home property, which our mortgages are typically around the 2,400 range, which then gives you a large spread of anywhere from 4 to 6K net on just one property. And this is why it's very hot right now. But people who haven't been in the lab with individuals like myself, like Jesse Vasquez and Dr. Rachel Gainsborough and Noble Crawford, don't have the foundations and don't know exactly where to start. And therefore, this is why I'm giving you guys a blueprint, the MTRR insurance blueprint. Go to the website, experimentrealestate.com, and get yourself a blueprint to completely change, or at least have a plan B if you're a short-term rental operator looking to maximize your occupancy and profitability. We'll see you on the other side.
So let's do a little break session. I want you guys to do an exercise that I'm like really interesting about, because we talk about the mind a lot, but I want to break it down. Do you guys see one of these lovely, shout out the short-term gems on the branding, my goodness. Can we talk about this? You guys see this? Can we zoom in on this? Hey. Short-term gems, my goodness. You guys want to pull this out for a second for me? I think you already have a page maybe, because you guys were writing down some stuff, but like get a fresh new page. I want you guys to do an interesting exercise, because you know, I'm a very visual person. And so it's like, if I don't see it, I don't see it. And that's very similar. I think the mind is such a very complex topic, because like, when was the last time you saw a mind? Your mind. You don't see it, so it doesn't make sense, or it's hard to understand, right? But so I wanna help you visualize it. So if you guys could take out a pad just like this, I'm gonna do this with you guys. I want you to draw one big circle. Let's do this, right? One big circle at the top, just like this. Then I want you to draw a stick figure. And then don't do the legs, don't get it twisted, this is different. We're in Utah, baby. All right. We're gonna do this. Another circle. See, I bet you some of you guys got ahead of yourself. You heard stick, you're like, oh, let me do the legs. Habit. Then we're gonna do this stick over here, okay? Does that make sense? Who's got it? Who's got the figure? You got it? Okay, great. This is important stuff, guys. I promise you, I'm not dicking around here, I promise. All right, so I want you to draw a line across the first circle. Yeah? Let's see who my artists are in here. Any artists in the building before I embarrass myself? Oh, that's a big circle. That's a big mind.
The teachers walking around, did you do it?
Yeah.
Did you do it?
This is gonna be the energy all, just so you know. Because you know the people who are too cool for school, couldn't help themselves. I'm not doing this. I came here for the midterm rental stuff. Who's this 10x hacker? It works, guys. All right, cool. See, did you do it? See? Starts at home, y'all. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. It was a joke. Okay, so what are you doing here? Okay, I know what I got to do here, but I want you to do it before I display it. Okay, cool. So you draw the line. You guys drew the line? Okay, good. So show me. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I don't want to disclose it, right? I want you guys to draw right here, I want you to draw, no, don't draw, just write think in here. Think at the top one, right here. Think. Right? So when you think of thinking, it's what you can control. You guys got it? Think? Okay, awesome. So then in the second one, I want you to write subconscious mind. Ooh, I know. S-U-B, I got you, don't worry. S-U-B-C-O-N-S-I-O-U-S. Subconscious? There you go, I got it. All right. Who's got it? Okay, then right here, I want you guys to write body. Body. The body. I'm gonna help you understand how this thing works. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fascinating, actually. So then, when you think of things, and I want to go ahead and I don't want to give it up yet because you guys are gonna see it. So I'm gonna just cheat a little bit, but I'm gonna start drawing it. I want you guys to write here at the top and do an arrow here. What it is that you're hearing, right? Then I want you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, like as in hearing. Oh, that's great. See, you guys are active. I love it. And then you're gonna write see, as in seeing the eyes, and you're gonna do an arrow. Yeah, see, as in S-E-E-E, not the C. Like, don't get carried away. Just seeing, right? Sight. Let's see you guys, man. Touch. That's the third one, touch. See that? That energy. Touch. Nice to see you. How are you? Hello. Touch. You write touch on your paper? Ruben. Luis? Awesome. We've met before. I know we have. We have, right? Sorry. All right, so we got touch. We got smell. Okay, cool. So these are all things that like we can control, right? We can control what we're watching. We can control what we want to hear to, right? You guys heard positive vibes only, right? For the touch, right? I just shook a couple hands, got a lot of energy. I don't know if you guys know, it actually gives you like oxytocin. You guys, any like health people in here? Yeah. You should like hug more and shake hands more. Free hugs and handshakes for me all day. Celine knows. Okay, so you can control that, right? That's like, we can control that. But the rest, the bottom portion, that is where the paradigm is. Was that like just the universe that hit next? Or, no, I'm just kidding, I'm not like that. I didn't realize I hit next, but that's it. So part of what I was saying before is like, whatever your paradigm is based on like what you've heard, what you grew up around, etc. And then what we want to tap is to here. Because for us to 10x, we have to kind of like rewire. Yes, we have to filter what comes in here, but we really need to work on here, right? And so you might say, well, Ruben, how do you work on here? It's repetition. There's no secret. It's what? Repetition. It is. I'm sorry. There's no secret sauce. That's the only thing. Like, we can't just come to these events and meet wonderful people and then go home and think we're just going to change and transform. Or else you guys just wasted airfare. You wasted your time, energy. I don't think it would be time because I think it's really good people here, but I just don't think you're going to get the most, right? So someone in this room could come to the same event, look at things differently, apply it back home, and have a very different output. Do we agree? Say yes. Why? So why can't that person be you? Why can't you make that your 10x? That's the whole point of this, right? Just understanding this. And I have some more just so you guys see it, right? Just so you can really see what I was kind of getting at. Because believe it or not, I don't think it's by chance that Dr. Rachel and I ran into ourselves. I don't think it's by chance that I met my wife. I don't think it's by chance. I really don't. I think if you believe in this stuff, if you understand it, it's a frequency, it's a vibe. Right? You might meet someone here that you end up doing business with. You might meet, we got an extra, 3 days together, right? So it's not by chance. There is a certain vibe. That's what I think Rachel was talking about before, right? And we feel it. But you have to it starts first, you're here. What you're hearing, new information, what you're seeing, touch, you can control that. So good for you, right? But we're not saying we can't control this. It just takes a little bit of extra work. Right? And that's why I want you to focus on that extra work, right? Because this is what's going to transcend to your frequency and your actions, right? And I want to talk about that because when you think about 10X, there's 4 C's, right? Commitment leads to courage, and courage leads to capability, right? And capability leads to confidence. Those are the 4 C's. Those are very important. Commitment, courage, capability, and confidence, right? And if you could just start understanding that a little bit better and just checking yourself, just understanding the code and how it works internally, I promise you that if you put it to work, it will do the work and you will do the work. You will be confident to do the work. So that's why this is the reason why I think it was appropriate to have this conversation today, but we're gonna have a little bit more exercise, so you're gonna be real primed and seasoned for the weekend. I'm hungry, can't you tell? Golly. So again, just showing you if you guys want to just, I don't know if you want to take a screenshot or whatever, you want to see it, but there's just different ways to see it, right? I talk about the 4 C's. There's also the condition, the circumstances will lead to your action, right? Because we all get information and it's like, well, how do I 10X that information and put it into work? Do I believe in what I'm learning? Am I capable? Do I have the courage, right? This is it. All right, so some of the stuff that I'm doing to recode myself, before I want to get there, the reason I know I'm using all the coding things, it's a little corny, but it's kind of fun at the same time, but it makes sense, right? Because it's we're software, we're technology. So it's interesting because I Googled, how many of you guys Google definitions? It's really important to understand like the language and the word, because I think we should be very conscious with the kind of words that we use. So I looked up, what does a hacker mean? And a hacker, right? I think we have a negative connotation to it. I had it too. That's why I wanted to check before I used it. But now I wanted to flip it on its head. A hacker is an enthusiastic and skillful computer programmer or user. Interesting. Enthusiastic. Let's be enthusiastic about this. Getting those updates, rewriting. And skillful computer programmer. So you need to become really good at this, at reprogramming yourself, but repetition. So I've listened to this prayer like 10 times. And I just hear different things, different gems, because when you become that person or that next tier, you start getting different insights, right? It's that reticular activating system. You're more aware now, so you listen to something again and then it hits different, right? Same thing here. You might take a workshop. I know Rachel has tons of education, and then you're like, I never heard that last time. Or you weren't ready, right? You weren't seasoned, right? But the reps matter. So I listened to this. If you guys are Audible fans, I would just highly encourage this. 10X is easier than 2X. That's Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Amazing. I mean, these people made a whole lifetime and Dan Sullivan studying about this stuff. I really tap into it. How many of you guys listen to this? Anybody here? Yeah? Well, tap in. It really helps. And I would really start, like the recoding starts with, this is one of the things, one of the here's, right? You guys are here right now. That's one. Great. Another one when you go home. I'm trying to give you some tactical stuff you can really work with. Listen to this stuff. It works. Because I promise you, if you really tap into this stuff, then you apply it, and then you learn new things, and you put all that into that formula, the mindset, the subconscious mind, the frequency, you will see results, right? Your 10X results. Your what? 10X results. Yours. That's right. Another one. Change your paradigm, change your life. That's a big one for me, right? This one, I think I'm on my 7th listen. Get different insights every single time. And this is the one that drives Celine crazy, right? Paradigm, that key word. But again, another one. I want to give you something tactical to listen to it. It's helped me. I just want to share it. I'm a 10X hacker. I'm just sharing it with my 10X people. Can you blame me? No? Okay, cool. Are you guys here? You guys still here? Awesome. Okay, great. So, okay, cool. So I do have a little exercise for you guys because I really want to make sure that, here's the exercise. Okay, so how many of you guys, anybody journal here? Like at all? Yeah, good. Yeah, don't be ashamed, man. It's great. You should. Like it's good because I want to give you a little something to do at home. And I do this, I actually did this challenge with a friend for 60 days. And not gonna lie, I've seen my 10X breakthroughs, not yours. Mine don't matter, yours do, right? So We don't even have to get into detail, but right, Selena and I know we were reflecting last night on like the past couple month, and it's been, I want to give you a little trick, right? So whenever you're, I want you guys to take the pen, piece of paper. I know this guy with the pen, piece of paper. I'm trying to rewire, right? Fresh new page. Fresh new what? That's what I'm talking about. Come on. Do we need to get a water break or something? I'm like, did I drain you? It is draining, but it's necessary. But tell me, do this every single morning. I'm telling you, it's been helping me, and I want to give you some tactical things to walk away with. I want to give you some what? Practical code. Okay, so I don't know how you guys journal, but this is how I journal, and it helps tremendously because and it's a key to, and I didn't take this, but this is Sandy Gallagher. She's amazing. She works with Bob Proctor and stuff, and I learned about this, and I was kind of blown away. All right, I'm gonna make this engaging. Like so, and it's urge, right? Uche. I should know. That's my Nigerian brother. Uche. So I got that. So uche, like when you journal, do you write things in the gap? Like I want this. Are you seeking? Is it in the present? How do you journal, brother? I just want to hear some insights. Is it in the present tense? Is it in the future?
It's in the present.
Okay,
There are
that's
times
good.
where I could talk about my goals, and I want to flesh it out,
Okay.
and I'll just write it out, but it's typically in the present.
And how do you like structure the sentence? Because this matters. I'm just curious, Uche. Just share with us, and then I'm going to go to someone else too. Like, how do you structure the sentence? You don't have to tell us your personal goals. I mean, I don't mind if you want to make this real intimate. We got time. It is a safe space. I'm making it real safe. I'll share mine with. But how do you structure your goals when you write them, like the sentence? Is it I, Uche, will accomplish this?
No.
Okay.
So, I mean, kind of like you were talking about, I experiment with it to see what sticks and what works. So I typically talk about what I plan to do. So
Give me an example.
an example. So I just went to, my daughter just turned 16.
Congratulations.
Last year, thank you. Last year, and we just went to Paris for her 16th birthday, as we were talking about.
Yes.
So it was one of those to where this year, I'm gonna take my daughter to Paris for her 16th birthday. So in that sense.
Okay, got it. So this year. Okay, great. I love that. So one of the structure. This is a great example. Thank you for sharing, Uche. So one way you could frame that, like if you guys can obviously take that example and put it into your kind of journaling, is I am grateful now that I get to take my daughter to Paris. And the reason, does that make sense? I am grateful. I am happy and grateful now that, right? Whether it's a week from now, right? So I want you guys to write that down because this helps. And you'll be like, why does this help? Because you're tapping into the subconscious mind, right? Because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between the now or the future, right? So part of what I want you to do is be grateful about things in the present, first 10 bullet points, and the next 10, let's say if you're gonna have 20, the next half, maybe it's 10, 5 and 5, has to be what you want in the future written in the same way. In the same what? Same way. In the same what? Way. I feel like I'm at camp. Yeah. Fun fact, I did do some camping and some canoeing. Y'all look like I can canoe? I can canoe. No, exactly. I have a lot of little fun facts like that. I think we all do, which is cool. That's why I'm excited to get to know you guys. Who would have thought, right? So Uche gave us a beautiful example. And the reason why it's important, guys, like if you think about 10X, like if I want to just put this into perspective for a second, it's like 10X, it's not about you, it's about who loses if you don't win. Think about that for a second, right? Like Uche's goals, and just like I can tell by the vibe here, your goals are not selfish goals. So what would it mean for you to accomplish those goals? Right? And this is why we're doing this, because it will allow you to tap in. So I'm happy and grateful now that insert your present, future goal into that framework. Because your subconscious mind does not know the difference. And you need to do what your subconscious mind, you gotta recode it. You gotta do what? Recode it. You have to. And you can't do it once. This is why we don't believe in the whole, it's end of the year goals. I don't believe in that. I write my goals down every day, right? Rachel, how often do you write down, girl, you are something different. I don't know what you're on, dude. Like, how do you, like, do you mind sharing? Because you're a proof of concept, my goodness. Do you do that? Like, it's okay if you don't. Like, I'm just curious. Because this isn't not like a one size fits all, like everyone who's doing this. No, everyone's got their own ways. Like, what are some of your perks, or hacks? What works for you, Rachel? So glad you
Yeah,
said that.
so my goal has to scare me a bit, but I don't, identify goals that are just so outside of my comfort zone that I feel as though it's not attainable. For instance, I won't say next week I'm gonna make $5 million, right? In a week, out of nowhere, out of thin air. So my goals have to be in line with my track record also. So if last month, our rentals generated 250,000, and the previous month it generated about the same, well, for the next quarter, my goal may be to see how can we get to 500K, right? Is it gonna be through acquisition? If I've set that as my goal, well, how do we accomplish that? Is it acquisition, right? Are we going to acquire other businesses? How do we get there? Because everything is figure outable. If that is my goal, if that is in alignment with my 10X.
Yeah.
And we know each other's 10Xs, right? And when I first said it, I think Ruben's the first one who asked me, so what do you want? In any partnership, you want to ask, what do you want?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask, what do you want?
Yeah, try to write that down and ask that this weekend.
Right.
And I like to keep it in mind, by the way. That's how you add value, because I don't like those empty, like, how do you add value? You figure out what the other person wants and be like, oh, you should connect with this person. But
Yeah, what do you want? And Ruben knows my goal is to buy an island, right, where I can hold wellness retreats for burnt out medical professionals and executives so that they can come in and find some respite, get training on financial literacy, and create a life that they love, turn around and heal healthcare, and take those profits to build orphanages in Haiti and Bolivia, where I have projects going on right now. Sustainable orphanages where the children can grow their own crops and have their livestock. That's what I want.
can somebody give a round of applause for that?
Right.
Thank you for sharing that.
But that's today, right, Ruben?
Yeah.
What I used to want was, can I just pick up my kid from school on Thursdays and not have to work overtime?
Yeah.
Right? That was 3 years ago. It's amazing what you can do in just 3 years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Rachel. Thank you. And I love that conversation because it's tactical, right? Like you want to be in the position where, okay, like, let me be very clear. And I think sometimes we lack that clarity, right? And then one of the things that I find fascinating that Rachel said is, I'm not going to say 5 million next week, but if you dared to, you would have to be very honest and be like, what would have to be true, which is one of the exercises we're going to do in order to make that dream come true, right? And I promise you, it will not be the same version that you are today in order to get to that 10X. It can't be. Just fundamentally doesn't matter, and it cannot be the same coding, right? It has to change. So we have this. This is a exercise, a mental exercise, right? We update our phones, we get new phones. Some of us get updates. Some of us don't, which is okay, to each their own, right? And I'm just joking to you, I promise. And our phones are listening to us, I guess. I don't know, I heard a noise. But this is another exercise to, you brush your teeth. Some of us work out a lot. Okay, well, what about the tapping into subconscious mind, right? And I love the thing that Rachel said, because that's one of my coaches, MJ DeMarco, which I don't know if you guys know. He actually have a sheet of I love this. So I want to just sit on this for a second. Rachel said it, and I'm so glad she said it. And it's not by chance that she said it, of course. And I had no idea because I hadn't asked her about how she does her goals, but it makes sense. Being in I told you guys I was in the fitness space for a while. I mean, I still am heavily committed into it, almost every day. But what happens with people I would see is they would say, all right, I'm going to work out every day. Okay. So what happens there is you wake up late one day and life happens, right? You got to pick up the kids and then you miss the gym. So there's two things that happen because your mind knows that you said you were going to work out tomorrow and you didn't. So there's two things. Now your mind says, it's okay for me to not be committed to what I say I'm going to do. Right? That's one option. Or the other option is, dang, why can't I stay committed? And you're hard on yourself. Then you start going in the gap. Right? So it's detrimental to set goals like every day I'm going to do this. It's unrealistic. What I like about, and I have a very similar, I've told you this, Celine, right? It's like if you say I'm going to work out 4 times a week, right? And you miss Monday, you're okay. You can still go crazy by the end of the week. You miss Tuesday, you're still okay, right? Sure, you miss Wednesday, you better. Hey, listen, back to back to back to back. But you should structure yourself that way because you say, hey, listen, I said 4 times a week I need to journal or work out or pick up the phone. Do what I love to do. Talk to the relocation specialist. Go straight to the source. You know what? Forget the relocation specialist. Let me talk to the adjuster because I have. And I'd love to geek out on that. I cannot wait. I like going straight to the source. Be like, you said this family can afford what now? 4 times, 3 times, commit to that so that you're not so hard on yourself when you miss. Because you guys can give me like, I'm hyped. Ruben talked about writing goals every day, and then you miss a day. But once you do what Rachel does, because that's what I do, right? Do what Rachel does. What would Rachel do? Weekly goals. I love that because it's realistic. I can miss Monday and still be okay. I said I would do it 4 times a week. I still have a chance to recover. And now guess what? I'm telling myself that I'm a consistent person, right? And you start identifying with that, right? And then I showed you guys the body, right? The mind's top tier, the subconscious mind, and then your actions. And then it turns into that effect of like, it becomes a consistent wheel of consistent. You feel better, you feel capable, you feel courageous, you feel committed, right? Those are the 4 C's of 10X. So it all comes down together. That's why I'm showing you this, guys. So love that Rachel went there. Didn't know she'd go there. Talk about being on the same page. Say, hey. No, I'm just saying. Amazing, Rachel. But thank you for that segue. So I'm going to ask the question again. How many of you have ever 10X in an area in your life? Think about what I just said before. So how many of you guys? Be confident. Guys, we're still operating in the gap. Why is that? I didn't do my job. Okay. Let me get you. Absolutely. Rachel, we're on the same page. You know that now. Come on. Look, we once used to crawl. We cannot walk, run. Like, look at that. Isn't that crazy? Like, we one day could not walk. I can walk backwards. Isn't that crazy? You used to crawl. Some of us run, lift, speak. You couldn't even say a word, and you're forming full sentences. Some of us are writing books. Interviewing, speaking. Do you know that public speaking is like a #1 fear? Not me, I love people. I love to talk. I'm like, this guy's still going. That's a fear, right? People overcome that. Do you realize how hard it is to drive a car? Stick, manual, and we do it now with our spines. Like, we don't drive with our heads. Like, that's like subconscious. You don't think about blinking anymore. That's conscious competence, right? Or did I mess that up? Or is it unconscious competence? It's one of them. Like, you don't think about it. You can be on the phone, you can get home, you're like, how did I even get home? That is mastery. We've all done this somewhere in our life. So now you have to tap back into the fundamentals, like how we learn to make friends, becoming an entrepreneur, launching a short-term rental. Guys, that's a 10X move. So now the whole goal is, okay, what did it take for us to 10X, right? We had to get new information. We had to change our paradigm shift. Like, I'll tell you what my paradigm shift was in the short-term rental space, right? And I was shout out to Michael Sjogren. I have a lot of people who helped me in my life. he was one of them. I interviewed him. I think it's episode 91. You guys should check it out. Shout out. Can I plug myself a little bit? The Real Estate Experiment Show. Episode 91. He looked at me dead in the eye and said, Ruben, I retired my wife, myself, and my mom in just under, I think it was about 18 months or something like that, 18 months. I was like, you what now? Because I'm thinking at the time, I'm listening to all these podcasts talking about 100 units here, apartment syndication there. Maybe I'm getting the wrong information. Maybe I'm just getting information that wasn't true to me. But when he said that, I was like, hold on. Paradigm shift right away, right? So when we launched our, and I had to say that we, because I looked at something, I'm like, yeah, we're going to buy something out of state, sight unseen. What you think, honey? She was like, we're going to do what now? Yes, we did. And then we were just looking at the numbers. I'm like, and I know, because I'm a licensed realtor. I look at data. I love data. I'm not just talking about this. I hack away with data, a lot of data, right? Because I don't believe, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Okay? So when I hear someone say that, that's cool. Let's look at that. Let's show me the receipts. That's going to be a theme, just so you know. Show me the receipts. So I looked at the comps, rental comps, and I'm like, okay, cash flowing by $1,000 a month? What? We just landed a contract, $8,000 a month. That's a 10x move. You guys probably did that too, and some of your markets are crazy. I can't deal with you Florida people and all these other vacation rentals, because we're short-term rental operators / midterm rentals. I believe midterm rental is a strategy, right? I still think people identify as short-term rentals, or midterm rentals, kind of this new term we're using internally, people know. So I still introduce myself, I'm a short-term rental, then we talk about the insurance and the blah, blah, right? But that's a 10x move, guys. Like if you're in here and you launch one, how many of you guys have short-term rentals? Okay, to me, that's a 10x move. But what do I know, right? So I want you guys to start thinking of like, oh my gosh, I think Ruben's right. I am operating in the gap because Rachel just said 250K. I'm like, golly, good job, Rachel. Seriously. But you gotta surround yourself by that to hear different things, see different things, proximity. It changes the whole paradigm. When I have a conversation with Rachel, I'm like, okay. Now, it's not unhealthy. I'm not looking at it as an ideal, but I look at myself like, my 10x, remember, because it's your 10x, and I say, okay, based on where I was before, this is a 10x move, this is a gain, and we're going in that direction, right? Don't compare yourself too much, but start looking internally. A lot of us are walking right now. Be grateful, right? That's a 10x move, right? Rachel, I know you had some, I'm sorry to keep pulling you up here, but you just have such a wonderful mind. I know that we've talked a lot about, you had mentioned something about, oh my gosh, we have so many, our text messages are like kind of crazy about the whole 10x kind of example of it doesn't need to be times 100. Do you mind just sharing your insights as well? Because I know that, I think it's important for people to hear from you as well. You had a paradigm shift, you had an identity shift, right? You had, this is such a safe space, I love to talk about this stuff, right? Like, we had a one-on-one conversation where you're like, Ruben, like, the jump to doing what you're doing now, changing lives, including ours, right? Celine and I's, and this entire community, you still had identity issues where I'm wearing the white suit, I'm a pharmacist, I'm a doctor, like this is who I am. But I believe you 10x'd when you went from serving the people that you did in your career, rightfully so, and you've done an amazing amount of work in your career, to now doing what you're doing. To me, that's a 10x move. I don't need to see how many students, courses, retreats you put together. I don't need to see that. To me, that jump of changing from Rachel before to Rachel now is a 10x move. Do you want to share a little bit of maybe that like what you had to go through and how that's a paradigm shift tied in with you 10xing what I'm giving you, that blessing, your flowers of you, that was a 10x move in my eyes. Would you agree?
No, thank you, Ruben. You're absolutely right. And again, get yourself some elf friends where you can just be vulnerable. Yeah. And one thing I remember telling Ruben is, Ruben, okay, great, I've got this success in real estate, but who am I really to be able to go teach it to others? Who am I to get a platform and share with others how I went to point A to point B when you have Robert Kiyosaki and Grant Cardone and all these,
That's the gap. The ideal.
right? Really prominent, figures, whether you agree with them or not, who have, multiple billion-dollar portfolios and multifamily and, all sorts of real estate and syndications. And so at one point I considered, okay, maybe I need to go back to school and get an MBA. Maybe I need to go back to school to get a real estate license. Maybe I need to go, back and get, a doctorate in real estate. Maybe I need to go to school for finance. Maybe, and so these are the things that creep up in the middle of the night, even for me to this day. And Ruben's like, wait, what?
I didn't believe
what
it. I
are you
thought she was
talking about? He
playing
goes,
with me.
I don't believe that for one second. I said, no, that's my reality, because whenever, and the brain does that, right? The brain is here to protect you. Whenever I'm gonna step out and do something extraordinary, the brain's like, oh no, honey, sit back here and be safe, be okay. And it's there to protect you. But I gotta tell you, your brain is never going to allow you to go out on a limb and succeed. It's just not. So you almost have to push through that noise and say, thank you, brain. I appreciate the fact that you are wanting to protect me. And that brain could be your own personal brain, the brain of your mom. My parents finally know that I retired from pharmacy.
She didn't tell them for the longest time. I'm like, what did
I'm an immigrant. Are you kidding
I know
me?
the struggle.
They put the degree on the pedestal, right? Meanwhile, I'm working 14-hour shifts. I have no balance. I don't get to see my kids. That's the reality of that fancy degree. And so for me, the 10X move, I'm so invested in that I feel as though we're 10Xing every week. Hiring some, people on our team, my ops manager, Tori, you guys will get to meet her. She's like the 100X move for me, and the mindset is, oh, you're gonna hire someone full time? What if you can't pay her? What if things, because the economy is going to, so all of thank you, brain, right? And so as soon as I hire her, we started having record-breaking months. And we're about to hit, record-breaking year, and I anticipate we'll be Inc. 5,000, sooner than later. And that was a 10X for me. So we 10X every week. My environment, oh my goodness, I was dragging my feet on a bathroom renovation. Your environment, like think about your environment. What are the things you go into your home and you're like, oh, I hate this stupid cabinet. It has so much real estate in your brain. You can't really flourish because you have this janky cabinet that's like kind of not, behaving the way it's supposed to. Yeah. And every single time it almost limits you. I don't know how to explain it. Ms. Carol, can you give us an example of how to explain it? Because I know she's very well versed in this area. Carol's certified Brock Proctor, by the way.
Oh, Carol.
I surround myself with the best. But you guys ever, you're stumbling over something in your own life, in your physical environment that needs to get fixed. And you're waiting on it, maybe next time. I can't really afford it, but just upgrading that environment, even by a little bit. Get yourself $1 million view, y'all. Get yourself $1 million view.
Talk to him.
Right?
Yes.
You don't necessarily have to invest in it right now, but go outside, find a view, and just, that's a 10X. Scheduling yourself for a moment to view that $1 million view is going to change the game for you. So I feel like we 10X every single day. So leaving my W-2 was my 10X first and foremost. Hiring, a team that could really support me and take us to the next level was 10X. Renovating my bathroom was a 10X as well. And there's more. And I actually keep a list. It's on that journal that we share in our notes. Yes. We share this 10X notes. Yeah. Yeah. So
can you, I want to just piggyback on that, Rachel, because you said it. And sometimes subtraction by addition, right? Like letting go is a 10X move. Right?
Oh, I see a lot of head nods. Okay, raise your hand if there's something you need to let go today. Oh.
I want to give a shout out to Celine, my wife, because
she's shaking her head.
No, she recently quit her job, and that was a big identity thing, right? had gone to school for it. You
With ABC or NBC?
ABC News.
that's
She went to
huge.
Columbia for journalism as well. Like she did the thing. Right? And we had so many interesting conversations. For me, maybe you 10x'd, right? So
Yeah.
I'm asking one more time. How many of you guys have ever 10x'd here in this room?
Awesome. Yeah.
Right? So,
And it's
so
not
that's
just
the
a
goal.
numbers game,
It's
right,
not.
Ruben?
It's not.
It's
And I
not
think-
like I made $10 and I make 100. That's
Right.
a 10x. It's not that linear.
Yeah. Now the goal is, right, we're here, thank you so much, Rachel, is to continue to repeat these 10x moves. And the only way for us to understand how to repeat is if we go back, right? We're gonna go backwards. We've 10x'd before. What did it look like? I heard trimming the fat, not literal fat, like just letting go, right? That's one thing. Focusing on the 20%. And I think the reason why I wanna share with you guys a personal kind of thing that I'm going through. So, yeah, vulnerable space, because this matters. So, I frame this without kind of making this about me, because it's about you. So I'll be quick. Slim's like, yeah, right. He's never quick. So I started interviewing real estate investors to get educated before I even owned real estate, and I created a show from it. When I created the show, I have this thing where I just kind of commit. So there was this guy who had a $300 million portfolio, and I said, hey, I would love to have you come on my show. And then he said, yeah, I'll come on your show, and I didn't have a show. I just said I had a show, because that's what I do, speak into existence. So then we had a show. I had a background, by the way, any of you guys who are trying to get your time back, I've hired over like 30 virtual assistants. I've had tons. What I mean to say is I created an agency to help me edit my show, okay? I'm going somewhere with this, so follow. This show, I have 240 plus episodes. I interview other people. I just show up and it gets done. Who, not how. That's a whole nother thing. It gets done. Now, another investor saw that, is like, I love what you're doing for your show. Can you do this for me? We had never done it before. Guess what I said? I said, what? I said, yes. I said, what? Yes. I always commit. So of course we can do that for you. Soon a social media agency was born, right? So then we have tons of clients, etc. However, now I'm starting to realize that, hey, we have operations. Told you guys, my 10x goal is to build a #1 midterm rental insurance network, helping homeowners have increased occupancy and profitability while helping displaced families nationwide. That's my 10x goal, right? So now, a lot of people, including my people, right? Tori, I was like, send you a message. I'm like, I kind of tweaked my bio. Identify me as the social media agency guy. And thanks to Rachel, we've 10x in our, am I good on time, guys? You doing okay? 10x our revenue and business, and I told you we pulled all our family in, and like that's my thing. And what I'm having a struggle with is I'm identifying with what people know me as, and the thing is that we want as human beings is to be consistent in front of other people. Be like, right? Like one day if I want to be a NASCAR driver, be like, I thought you were in real estate. People don't like to see change, right? Or identify with Dr. Rachel Gainsborough. You do what now, real estate? What is this? We want to be consistent with our actions and who we are. I worked at this job. We also have the sunk cost bias. You guys know what that is? Sunk cost, when you've put all this money in, you went to school, you did all this, you put all this time, but I spent so much time, I can't do this pivot now. So that's sunk cost bias, right? So I'm having this issue now where like, no, don't call me the invested talent guy, because that's my name, right? Our name, Invested Escapes is the name of my co-founder of my company, of my wife and I. Temporary housing solution providers, vertically integrated, etc. But then I have Invested Talent that produces my show still to this day, and we still have clients. And I'm having this conversation with myself where I want to trim the fat. So I'm dealing with it too. And I'm gonna trim the fat, where I started to say no to business. It's hard. Business is coming at you. right? You gotta be like, right? You used to crawl, now I can walk, now I can stiff arm, right? But like that's hard because I identify myself as like, hey Ruben, you're the social media guy. Like, no, midterm rental, right? I sent Tori a new bio yesterday. I'm like, Tori, I want the new bio, right? I want it. So it's everyone. It's all of us, right? And so, but it's important when I'm clicking things. You guys are thinking like, what is he clicking? Sorry about that. But I want to go back to the exercise of going back to, you guys all raise your hand in the end, which I'm so happy that you've 10x before. I want you guys to take this time. I really do want you to take this time to write it down, these following gap versus gain exercises, because a lot of us don't do this, right? We're just so hard on ourselves, right? It's this, right? So I want you guys to take some time. Maybe we can cue some nice relaxing music. I did this recently and I was kind of blown away. I'm like, this is crazy. Like I felt good about myself until I run into another person and I start measuring the ideal again, right? So you need to go back here. Number one, how have you grown as a person within the past 3 years, right? You guys couldn't raise your hand and tell me that you're 10x, and yet there's some of you guys, Harry told me you're under escrow. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Is it?
It's Harry.
Harry.
That's right, you got it. Yes.
You're gonna be under escrow or?
Yes, in a couple of weeks. Yep.
Come on. Where were you like, is this like a new thing for you? How long have you guys been in the
Since
space?
last year, July only.
Come on.
I know.
This is crazy. It's a 10x. Come on, you guys give me a round of applause.
Experiment Nation, podcasting has changed the way we operate as real estate investors ourselves, and it can do the same for you. Podcasting has been the source of the masterclasses that we get thanks to the world-class real estate investors and practitioners and specialists that come into the lab from all realms, from short-term rentals to midterm rentals to real estate syndications to even software as a service. Owners, founders, entrepreneurs have helped enrich our experiments by giving us the education, helping us build a network, and lastly, and most importantly, a brand association to open up multiple doors for our respective businesses. If you understand the power that podcasting can have and you know that you need one for your brand, please, you can rely on our team. InvestedTalent.com is my team and the team that helps this podcast, the Real Estate Experiment, become the fruition each and every single week to educate my community, build relationships on the air, and continue to build our brand. If you know that you need to do the same for your brand and you haven't pulled the trigger yet, maybe because you don't know how, our company, InvestedTalent.com, does the end-to-end from the time that you record, from the time that it is published, to even repurposing content on multiple social media platforms. That's what my team can do for you. Simply go to InvestedTalent.com and book a discovery call to see how my team can help you launch your podcast.